Hi, today we are going to be completing the Chapter 3 test study guide. We're going to start with page 200. These are your do now problems. Go to page 200 and work on these problems. If you don't have them, they're right here for you to pause now. All right, the answer for those problems. So is it on a grid, Joe's house is marked at a -5, -3, right here. And Andy's house is marked at 1, -3. What is the distance on the grid between the houses? So we have 5, the absolute value of a -5 is 5, plus this 1, which will be 6. The distance is 6. All right, we're taking these decimals and we are putting them putting them in order from least to greatest. So they all have the whole number 2, which makes them all like the whole number part equal. But we know that 1/8 is smaller than 1/4. So if we take some lines here and we draw an 1/8, remember an 1/8 has 8 pieces. And this 1/4 has 4 pieces. 1/4 we know is the same as a quarter. That's one I've had you memorize. This is 1/8. So 1/8 is smaller than 1/4, and a quarter is smaller than 40 cents. So we can easily put these in order: 1/8, 2 1/8, 2 1/4, and 2 4/10. In this next one, it requires us to divide. We're taking $2.89 and dividing it by the 4 25/100ths of an ounce. Remember, when you divide, you need to move your decimal twice, and then it shoots up straight in your answer. So 425 doesn't fit into that 200. So the first thing you need to do is find out how many times it will go into 2,890. And we find out that's 6 times. We do our subtraction. In the end, you will end up getting 68 cents. So if you need to pause the video for more time to look at that and figure out why, do that. If you need more help, call me over and I'll talk to you about it. All right, so Jan began with 5/8 pound of modeling clay. She used 1/5 of the clay, so she uses 1/5 of the 5/8. So of tells us to multiply. She uses 1/6 of the pound of clay, pound is actually LBS, to make these decorative magnets. Then she divided the remaining clay into 8 equal parts. So she started out with 5/6. She used 1/6, which will give us 4/6. And we're going to simplify 4/6 because they're both even. Divide this one in half and this one in half. We get 2/3 divided by 1/8. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. So when you go to multiply, 2 and 8 are both even. We can cut them in half. You get 1, and 3 times 4 is 12. So 1/12 of a pound of each. All right. So study guide. Go ahead and open your book to page 201. Here's the study guide on page 201, 202. Make sure that you can see this in case you don't have your book. 202, 203. Oops, and there's one up on the top. 204. There you go. See that a little better. 205. Okay. And if you can't find your book and you need a copy of this, I'll have some available. And here's page 206. Make sure you do those pages before you press play on your study guide so I can go over the answers with you to make sure you have the correct answers for the test when you're studying. All right, so first one, we're going to choose yes or no to see if it is going to be represented by a negative number. So Sherry lost 100 points. So yes, that will be a negative number because when you lose points, that is negative points. Then it says the peak of the mountain is 200 feet above sea level. So that one, no, is not negative. That's a positive. It's above sea level. This one says Young paid $25 for parking. So yes, negative $25. If he paid $25, that's a negative. He doesn't have that money anymore. It's less than what he had before. A puppy gained 3 pounds. That would be a positive, so that is a no. All right, then it says low weekly temperatures for a city are shown. Here's the temperatures, and we have to put them in order from the lowest to the highest. So remember, the most negative are the lowest. So the temperatures should be a -7 degrees Fahrenheit, -5, -3, +2, +3. Remember, you don't need to put those positives. You could just put 2 and 3 there. All right. So explain how to use a vertical number line in order to show these distances. So remember, 0 would be here. This is vertical. Horizontal is like the horizon. Vertical up and down. And we could just do 1, 2. That's +2, 3. And then -1, -2, -3. That one we could show there. Put our dots up there. And then -4, -5, -6, -7. So there is the negative numbers on our vertical and positive numbers on our vertical number line. All right, next page. It says for these, we're going to choose yes or no to indicate if the number is between a -1 and a -2. So this one is smaller than a -1, or actually bigger than a -1. It's closer to the 0. So that one is not between those two numbers. No. This one is between a 1 and a 2, but it's not between a -1 and a -2. That is a positive 1 and 2/3. So that is also a no. This one, we have a -1, and it's a little bit more than a -1. So it is between the -1 and -2. That should be yes. Then we have a -1 and 1/4, which would be between that, here we would have 0. Let me explain why. So 0, -1, -2. So if we have a -1 and 1/4, it would be just past that -1. So that one is yes. And a -2 and 1/10 would be past the -2. So that one is no. All right, the next one says compare a -1/5 to a -9/10. We're going to use numbers and words. And the way we can explain this is by changing this into tenths. Multiplying the top and bottom by 2, we get 2/10. Negative is in front, so we keep that a negative. -2/10, and this one says a -9/10. So a -2/10 is closer to the 0. It's greater than the -9/10. All right, so Jean Drey said through absolute value of 3 equals an absolute value of -3. Is she correct? Use a number line to support your answer. So yes, these are both equal because the meaning of absolute value is how many spots is the number away from 0. So 3 is 3 spots away from 0, and a -3 is also 3 spots away from 0. All right, it says write the values in order from least to greatest. And these are all absolute value numbers, so they're all positive. This absolute value would be a +4. This one a 2. This one a 12. This one a 8. So you just put these in order. This one is going to go first because it's the least of these positive numbers. So absolute value of 2, absolute value of -4, absolute value of 8, and absolute value of a -12. All right, 7, the x-coordinate of any point on the y-axis is 0. So that's saying we have our y-axis. If the point is on this y-axis, then we don't move as an x-coordinate, so it is 0. That is true. Point D is at a -2, 1, 2, +1. It is to the left of the y-axis, to the left, and below the x-axis. Is that below? No, it is above, so that one's false. The point where the axes intersect is called the origin. That is true. All right, both the x-axis, both the x and the y coordinates are positive. If they're both positive, then the point is to the right of the right. So if it's positive, it's up here, right? It'd be to the right of the y-axis and below the x-axis, which is not true because it's above the x-axis. So that one would be false. All right, number 8 will be in the second quadrant. The location of the house is across so we have a positive one right here, and it's saying the location of the house is across the y-axis. So this would be quadrant 1, this one is quadrant 2. All right, points. These are the points. We're going to find the distance between them. So on this one, we have from here to here would be 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 here, and then here we would have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the absolute value of -4 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. So the distance between those 2 points is 7. All right, here, the distance, I'm just going to give you these answers because I'm running out of time on my 15-minute video, but the coordinates would be T is at 6, 8, J is at -6, 8, F is at 6, -5. All right, and then if each unit on the map represents a block, what's the distance that he traveled to the football field, and what's the distance that Jose traveled to the football field? Use numbers and words to explain your answer. So this is going to take me a while to explain. So I think what I'm going to do is I will pause here and I will make another video that I will add on to this one, but I will show you the answers. No, I'll just make another video that I'll add to this one.